You heard all the stories on the internet about people making millions with Bitcoin mining? Did you see the Ty Lopez videos in 2017 where he's driving around in Lamborghinis talking about Bitcoin this, Bitcoin that? Maybe you got a friend that's like, you should get into Bitcoin mining. Bitcoin mining is the greatest. Bitcoin mining make you rich. All right. Now I know that's a little dramatic, but if you answered yes to any of those questions or just interested in Bitcoin mining in general, you've came to the right place, because in today's episode, we're going to be talking about how much money you could potentially make mining cryptocurrencies, specifically with Bitcoin mining. I know that there's a lot of people that get into the mining space. They have a lot of questions. They don't know what hardware to get, how much money they're going to potentially make, things like that. And so I want to answer all those questions for you in today's video. So what we've done here is we've dusted off one of our old ASIC S9 Antminers. And so we're going to be conducting a case study that reveals how much money you could have potentially made had you been mining on this piece of equipment over the last couple of years. For those that are new to the channel, my name's Dustin. Go ahead, hit the subscribe button, smack the bell, and let's get started. All right, welcome back to another episode of Crypto Miner Tips. And in today's tip, I got something special again for you guys. We're going to be talking about, can you make money mining Bitcoin? And if so, how much? So those are the two questions that I plan on answering for you in this video. I also will be covering some hardware, Bitcoin mining hardware. In case you are looking at getting into Bitcoin mining, I will be recommending, an ASIC miner that you could purchase right now. They're on pre-order and stuff like that. So a while back, I actually made this blog post about it, and there's going to be a link down in the description below to this. It has a lot more details. I suggest you check it out. I'm not going to be covering all these details in this video because I don't want to make it too long, but the biggest thing is anytime somebody asks me, can you make money mining Bitcoin? My short answer is yes, it is possible to make money mining Bitcoin. Now, notice I said possible. However, it's not a guaranteed return on investment. Factors such as electricity rate, the mining hardware that you use, mining difficulty, and Bitcoin's price can determine profitability. So there's a lot of different factors that go into this, and some of these factors are changing daily. Like the mining difficulty, it continues to keep going up and up and up. And so it's kind of hard to really answer that question for you because, another thing is we don't know exactly what your electric rate is. You'd have to figure that out with your utility company. So that's pretty easy to do. But, so yes, it is possible to make money mining Bitcoin, but I bet you're probably wondering, well, how much money can I make? And so that's really the big question that I hope to answer for you. And so in order for me to do this, I actually made a spreadsheet, and this is going to cover the S9 Bitcoin, the S9 Antminer. And so for those that are kind of new to Bitcoin mining, the S9, this is an ASIC miner. This is what one looks like, and you can order these from China pre-built. And so these computers are specifically designed for one thing and one thing only, and that's to mine Bitcoin. And so this is going to be a case study that covers this miner. This was probably one of the most popular ASIC miners sold in the market in 2016, 2017, and part of 2018. So this is going to be a case study that covers this mining hardware and how much money you would have potentially made had you bought this machine and mined with it when it first got released on the market. So that's another important thing is, and we'll be covering that too, but it's important that you get these, if you are going to get into Bitcoin mining, that you get these ASIC miners when they're first released on the market. I can't emphasize that enough. So what I was able to do here is I gathered some data to be able to create this spreadsheet for you, and I'll get into this in a second. But just to show you, what all I came up with, I found an old Bitcoin announcement. And this was the launch of the S9. And so right here it says May 31st of 2016. And I was able to get a couple pieces of data from this. The first thing, it says the Antminer S9 has a hash rate of 14 terahashes and a power consumption of 1,375 watts. So right there I was able to get the hash rate and the power consumption. The other thing, it says we are accepting orders, and they basically say that the first batch would ship starting in June 12th to be exact. So I was able to get the ship date, okay? And what I was able to do with this is, basically project that the soonest that anybody could have got one of these machines to their doorstep is somewhere around July 1st of 2016. Later on down in this post here, I was able to figure out how much they were selling them for, which is $2,100 plus shipping. Now I didn't factor in the shipping cost. I just did a flat rate of $2,100 for these projections, but shipping was probably somewhere around $50. Okay. Now with that data on top of that, I went over to blockchain.com and was able to get a Bitcoin mining difficulty chart. And so this is the mining difficulty for specifically for Bitcoin. And as you can see right here in 2009 when Bitcoin mining started, the difficulty was very, very low. Okay. Now this is important. This was back when laptops, CPU mining was really big for Bitcoin, and that's why you read a lot of the older blog posts about people being able to mine around 50 Bitcoin a day on a laptop. In 2010, you can see the difficulty jumps up some. The network's starting to grow. More people are learning about Bitcoin. But more importantly, somebody discovered that graphics cards were better to mine Bitcoin. They were more efficient, they were faster, so GPU mining kicked in. And somewhere in 2013, I think the very first ASIC miners were developed and sold to the mass market. Bitmain had a version before the S9 called the S7. And then, as you can see right here, in 2016, that's when they started shipping out. Right around June, July, you can see that the difficulty really started picking up right then and there, and was going up and up, and it's just hasn't stopped going up ever since. It's skyrocketed since then. Now ever since pretty much 2016. So these days there's more efficient hardware, which I'll be getting into in a second, but that's predominantly what's driving this difficulty up. So anyways, I was able to take this data right here and export it into a CSV file, and so I got the Bitcoin mining difficulty for the last pretty much 11 years. And so as you can see right here, I was able to get the date. So I started from July 1st of 2016. So this is the difficulty number right here. Okay. So now I got the hash rate, the power consumption, and the difficulty. Okay. The other thing though on this spreadsheet is I was able to get the close price for a Bitcoin for that period. So in July 1st, Bitcoin closed at $676. So there's a lot of different factors in here that I had to kind of pull in from other sources to build this spreadsheet. And so what I was able to do with that is once I had all this data, I headed over to CoinWars. And I just wanted to kind of show you guys this so that you don't, you're not just taking my word for it and thinking that I'm just pulling numbers out of thin air. I want to show you exactly how I was able to produce this data for you. So, we got a hash rate of 14 terahashes and a power consumption of 1,375. So I plugged that in there. I'm not so concerned with the hardware cost at this point. I was able to take care of that in the spreadsheet. But then the mining difficulty, I was able to copy in the mining difficulty from that spreadsheet. And the other thing is electricity rate. Now, before we get into all these projections, I ran all the projections on a 12-cent electric rate, 12 cents per kilowatt hour, okay? That's the national average here in the United States. It's going to vary, so you're probably going to want to figure out what your kilowatt rate is before you even attempt to get into Bitcoin mining, because if it's too high, it's probably better just to buy Bitcoin versus mining. I'm not saying that you should just, forget about mining altogether, but maybe, do some CPU mining or some GPU mining of altcoins and buy and hold Bitcoin. So, but I was able to calculate this profit right here, and as you can see, this miner actually was making $7.40 a day at that time, because I did put the price of Bitcoin in there. But the most important thing is I was able to get the Bitcoin mined per day. Okay, so it was 0.0168. So when we look over here at the spreadsheet, I got all these columns right here. So in July 1st, 0.0168. Okay, so that was the amount of Bitcoin, again, mined daily. Now, what I was able to do is kind of estimate and say, okay, in 30 days at kind of that rate, I was able to mine 0.5 Bitcoin that month. Okay, now the electricity cost daily on that at 12 cents a kilowatt, now keep that in mind, 12 cents a kilowatt, was $3.97. All right. So at a close price, $6.76, and then the total electricity cost for a month at 12 cents USD was $119. Okay, so moving on down, this right here, this $221 for this month was the mining profit after electricity cost. If you'd cashed out Bitcoin that month, all the Bitcoin that you mined, you would have made $221 profit after your electricity cost. Okay. Now I made another column to represent how much Bitcoin you would have had left over if you would have just cashed out enough to cover your electricity cost and just hung on to the rest. Okay. Now this is important too, because this is gonna get into the investment strategy that I think that everybody should kind of follow too as well. So, I was able to create this pretty exhaustive list, this spreadsheet right here with all this data. And so what it really boiled down to is this. Let's go over to this real quick. So right here, these green months, we'll get into this first. These green months, these are all the months that it was profitable. And then right down here, it was no longer profitable to mine. We had another pullback in the market. Bitcoin's price went up, and we were able to have a couple profitable months there. Okay, now and then it went back to being not profitable again. So as you can see right here, there was quite a few green months had you have bought this when it first was released on the market. And let's see here, where's the last profitable month? Okay, so right there was the last profitable month. So if we scroll over, the last profitable month for this was in August 1st of 2018. So if you bought this when it first came out, it got to your doorstep July 7th of 2016, which I believe it could have easily got there by then with that ship date. You would have been looking at about almost 2 years worth of profitable mining. Now, why is this important, you might ask? Well, if you're looking at getting into Bitcoin mining and you're looking at getting some of the new hardware, based on a lot of the research that I've done and everything that I've read, the average lifespan out of one of these Bitcoin miners is right around 1.5 to 2 years. Now this shows 2 years, but I'm going to guesstimate somewhere around 1.5 just to be on the safe side. So you really, the name of the game with this mining hardware is you want to get it when it's first released on the market and mine with it right away to try and get your return on investment back as quick as you can. Because here's the thing with these ASIC miners, these things, once they're done, once they're inefficient and they got better equipment out, they're not good for anything. There's nothing you can really do with these. It's not like a computer that you can play video games on, so you kind of have to scrap it or try and resell it on the market to somebody that maybe they got free electricity and they don't care about the efficiency or something like that. So that's the name of the game with ASICs, is you want to mine with it as much as you can. You want to get it as soon as it's released on the market to try and get your money back out of it. So just keep that in mind, that you're probably going to have about 1.5 to 2 years if you're looking at getting the new mining hardware. Okay. Now, with that being said, the other thing here is the total Bitcoin mined over the whole course of all the way up till October 1st of 2019 would have been 5.25 Bitcoin. Okay, so that was the grand total amount of Bitcoin mined with this S9 model. So and keep in mind, if the cost was $2,100, okay, right here it says I was able to factor in this. So the grand total of BTC profit in USD after electricity costs, if you were to cash all this out monthly, now this is very important to keep in mind too, would have been right around $5,587, which isn't a lot of money. And then after your $2,100 investment, you would have had somewhere around $3,487 left over. So a $2,100 investment would have only netted you right around $3,400. Let's call it that, on a 12-cent rate, electric rate. Okay, so keep that in mind. However, this is where things get interesting. If you were to mine and hold the Bitcoin. So let's say you hung on to the Bitcoin and you only cashed out enough to cover your electricity cost, okay? Which a lot of miners do that. They don't like to sell their coins. They like to hang on to them. Most of the miners I know, they're hoodlers. They don't sell their coins. It's too painful for them. So you would have had 3 Bitcoin left over. So at the current price of Bitcoin, which is right now, let's refresh the screen so we get a true reading. So if you hung onto that Bitcoin, had 3 Bitcoin right now, you'd have somewhere around $28,275 USD. Okay, so that's, I mean, off a $2,100 investment, the electricity and stuff like that, if you have the means to do it, that's not too bad of a return off of a $2,100 investment right now. Now, the other thing to keep in mind though is that in 2017 we had this big bull run over here. Okay, so right here, right about here in December, let me scroll this up, of 2017, Bitcoin went all the way up to really, really close. It kissed $20,000. So, the thing to keep in mind with this is, if you would have sold that month, you would have had up until that point, you would have accumulated 3 Bitcoin after your electricity cost. If you just, like I said, cashed out enough on a 12-cent rate. Okay, so that 3 Bitcoin, if you would have sold at that $20,000 price point, you would have made, that would have been worth $60,000 USD. Okay, so again, keep that in mind. That's off of just one Bitcoin miner, and I was actually able to run about 5 of these. I got another blog post where I showed like my mining cave, and I had 5 of these machines running underneath my house. Now, I wasn't fortunate enough to sell like I was supposed to sell right there, so I did sell some of my Bitcoin, but not all of it like I should have. But that's kind of the thing that you need to keep in mind. The other thing is that you could have really maximized your profit during this period, because these S9 Bitcoin miners, they were sold out. You could not find these things anywhere when Bitcoin was running up like that. They were sold out everywhere. And yes, when they were being first sold on the market, they were $2,100. I think I picked mine up for right around $1,000 because I got mine in early 2017. And now you can see they got a new S9 model for $133. Now, the reason why I mentioned that is because there was people reselling their ASIC miners during this period for right around $4,000 to $5,000 because they were sold out everywhere. Everybody wanted them. So if you had one that was ready to ship, you could have easily sold that for $4,000 to $5,000. So you could have not only made potentially $60,000, but you could have sold that miner for double the amount of what you paid for it. So keep that in mind. I don't know if those circumstances will ever happen again. I know that there's a lot of people with the Bitcoin halving coming up. They tend to think that this is gonna history's gonna repeat itself. The graphics cards are gonna be sold out again. The gamers are gonna be mad, obviously, but a lot of this mining hardware is gonna be sold out too as well. So if you're looking at getting into Bitcoin mining, now is a good time because yes, Bitcoin's starting to poke its head back up. The halving's coming up. And there's a ton of mining hardware available on the market now. There's a couple things that you need to consider though when you're looking at running one of these machines in your home. Actually, 3 things you need to consider. The first thing is power consumption. These things, I mean, they're burning right around 1,000 to 1,300 watts. I think the new model's burning somewhere around 2,600 watts, and this is on 220. So if your home doesn't, if wherever you're trying to run one of these machines, you're going to have a dedicated 220 circuit to run them. They need to run 24/7, and yes, they need an internet connection as well, which isn't, the internet's not a huge problem, but usually for most people is setting up the electrical requirements. The second thing is Bitcoin miners are super, super loud. I don't even know how to describe it. But the third thing to consider is heat. These things put off a ton of heat. You know, you're going to need a way to exhaust these. But if you got those three things, you might be, you know, if you're pretty savvy and stuff like that. I'm not saying that's not doable. It's totally doable to run one of these machines, even the new equipment at home. So, but you might be asking yourself, okay, Dustin, well, should I get the S9? It's only $133. And the answer is absolutely not. If you're asking me, now somebody else might give you a different answer, but if it was me personally, I would not buy the S9, not even at $133, okay? You know, because at $133, let's do this. Let's go over to the mining calculator here. Now this new one is a 17 terahash, so you get 3 more terahashes than the first one that launched, which was only 14 terahashes. So if you did 17 terahashes, and what's the power consumption on this one? 1360. So if we did 1360, all right, let's just make sure we get our numbers correct here. Current difficulty, current price, and we're going to set this at a 12-cent rate. Okay, we're going to go ahead. Let's just calculate this real quick. All right, so it only makes $1.30 a day. That's some bullshit.
This is fucking bullshit.
That's horrible. I mean, why are you going to buy something to mine unprofitably? Now, could this be a profitable miner? Could Bitcoin go up to $20,000 and make this a profitable miner? It could, but from a longevity standpoint, yes, I guess you're only paying $133 for it, but you know, if you really want the latest and greatest miner, this is the one that I would go with. This new one right here, the S17 Plus. This is a 67 terahash. Now, it does have you're going to need two 220 outlets to run this, because it's essentially it's like 2 S9s, the size of 2 S9s. So, and it has dual power supplies on it. So again, you're going to need two 220 outlets to run this. But let's run this through the stats real quick here. It's 67 terahashes. So 67 terahashes at 2,680 watts. So let's do this. Let's run it through. So 67 terahashes. I'm sorry, what did we say the power consumption? 2680. So 2680. Okay. So current difficulty, 12-cent rate. Okay, let's calculate this real quick. All right, so you're looking at $2.61 a day profit, okay? So, you know, this one's just a more and more efficient machine, so you're going to get a lot more terahashes. You know, I was running 5 of these S9s underneath my house, so I was, you know, at 1,300 watts. You know, that's right around, you know, about 6,500 watts. For 67, I was getting right around 65 terahashes is what I was getting. So now I could purchase one of these miners, mine at 67 terahashes, which is 3 terahashes more than what I had before, but damn near half the wattage, a little under half the wattage, almost half the wattage of what I was using before. So it's a more efficient machine. So again, I would not be buying any kind of S9s or anything like that. If it was up to me, I would be, you know, using the S17. Now, most people aren't going to have a means to do this. So, you know, if maybe you don't have the electricity set up or anything, or a way to exhaust heat, or, you know, something like that. So what I would suggest is, you know, maybe you buy some cryptocurrency and hold. You know, it might be better for you to do it that way. In fact, you know, put in the comment below what your preferred investment strategy, whether you mine Bitcoin, whether you buy Bitcoin. I'd like to know, just kind of get a feel for the crowd and see, you know, who's buying cryptocurrency, how many people are buying cryptocurrency versus mining cryptocurrency. So, but that's basically it. So the biggest key takeaway here is that, you know, yes, Bitcoin mining is profitable, but there's some moving pieces to it. One, you got to have a decent electric rate. I'd say at least a 12-cent, maybe no more than like a 14-cent electric rate. The other thing is you got to have a way to exhaust the heat, and, you know, the electrical is going to be the biggest thing though, and the heat's going to be a big one too, but mostly the electrical. So the other thing is that just making sure that you get the latest mining hardware. And I think that as long as you don't cash out monthly, you're going to be in pretty good shape. I would wait till Bitcoin runs up. When everybody starts bragging about how rich they are, that would be the time that I would sell. I would sell that, and when all the miners are sold out, if these miners do become sold out again and you're sitting on one and you've already mined with it for a while, and somebody was willing to pay you double what you paid for it, absolutely sell it. And I think that you would definitely come out on top on that deal. I do want to say, I said all that to say this though. This is not investment advice. Take the research that I've done, back it up with your own research, and decide whether it's something that you want to pursue or not. So that's really it in today's video. That's all I really wanted to go over. If you guys want, I'm going to have links down in the description to our Facebook group. Please join our Facebook group. We got a pretty active community. We're growing every single day. We got over 300 members in there. And so if you have any questions about mining, or if maybe you're an experienced miner and you're looking to, just hang out, sign up for the group. Also too, we do have a Discord open now. It's been open for a while, so I'm going to have a link to the Discord as well. Full disclosure, I do monitor the Facebook page a whole lot more than I do the Discord, so if you kind of want to talk to me and stuff like that, I suggest that you sign up for the Facebook group. But we will be starting to monitor and tend the Discord group too as well. So that's really it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and be on the lookout for the next one. Later.